I'm First Alert meteorologist Brittany Rainey, and you're watching CBS News Texas. We're all used to hot summers in the Lone Star State, but the record-breaking heat, it's challenging, even for lifelong Texans. Today, Wednesday, June 28th, we had a heat index close to 105 degrees in some spots, and it was brutal. We spent part of the afternoon outside conducting a few experiments in the heat, and we'll show you what happened coming up. This extreme heat means some North Texans have found themselves facing life-threatening heat emergencies. Aaron Jones has advice from experts on staying safe.
Take care of the short ball much better.
At the Fretz Tennis Center in Dallas Monday afternoon.
It feels like it's about 103, and then on the tennis court you had about 10 degrees, so we're dealing with about 113.
Teaching pro Jake here says to manage, he needs
lots of shade, water, frequent breaks.
The heat is just affecting everyone in the community. And
Dallas County Health and Human Services spokesperson Christian Gonzalez says the latest heat-related illness report shows a drastic increase in heat-related illnesses in the past week.
The week before, we only had about 25 cases. Now we're seeing an increment, a double in cases.
Health officials stressing
to monitor for symptoms. You know, oftentimes we ignore those, and that's your body telling you that something's wrong.
With these very high temperatures, it is very important to stay hydrated.
Melissa Mendez, a registered dietitian with Parkland, says at the very least you need to be drinking enough water. How much depends on your age. Adult women need 11.5 cups a day. Adult men, 15.5 cups.
Other options could include maybe a vegetable juice, just pure vegetable juice, checking the food label that there isn't a lot of sodium on it. And then drinking milk. Milk would be another option.
Carrying snacks with high water content also advised. Fruits like papaya, pineapple, and watermelon, and veggies like bell pepper, cucumber, and tomatoes, all good options. She says stay away from alcohol, soda, and sugary juices. And if you're starting to become really dehydrated, you need electrolytes. Sugar-free Gatorade Zero, one option.
Once you got about 20, Zach, bring them in, that'll be good. And I eat a lot of apples, especially in the morning. I drink 2 different electrolyte supplements and Gatorade. Liquid IV works great. That's what I recommend if people are looking for something specific.
Here says another great thing is that the Fretz Rec Center is right next door. Right now, all City of Dallas rec centers and libraries are serving as cooling stations. In Dallas, Aaron Jones, CBS News Texas.
Spending time in these scorching temperatures, it's unavoidable, and it's dangerous for those who work in construction, landscaping, and maintenance. Our Caroline Vandergrift with what protections crews have in this kind of heat.
Texas summers are always hot, but this one seems especially brutal.
First of all, it already feels like August, and we're just in, right middle of June.
And as hot as it is on the ground, it can be 20 degrees hotter up on a roof.
So you want to get started early when it's cooler.
Crews with Super Roofman avoid working in the afternoon, typically the hottest part of the day. Owner Kyle Davis also puts off steeper, more challenging roof installments to the fall when it's cooler outside.
These guys, this is considered an easier roof installation project. So they know when they're not feeling right, something's not right, they need to come down and take a long break.
In the past few days, MedStar has treated about 20 people for heat-related illnesses who say they were working in a hot environment. The top industries reported are road construction, warehouse workers, delivery, landscaping, and roofing.
So even if you're a lifelong North Texan and you think, oh, I can manage this because I deal with Texas summers all the time, we don't usually have this much humidity and have heat indexes this high.
In Texas, there are no state laws to protect workers from the heat, like mandated breaks or rules about providing water on job sites. Earlier this month, Governor Greg Abbott approved a new law that will eliminate local ordinances on the issue, like the City of Dallas's water break mandate. So it's up to individual companies and their employees to come up with ways to stay safe.
Making sure you're staying hydrated, wearing cool clothes, keep yourself hydrated.
As temperatures continue to climb in the coming days. In Saginaw, Caroline Vandergrift, CBS News Texas.
Here in North Texas, we're experiencing extreme summer conditions as well as other parts of the South. But throughout the country, we're just seeing extreme weather. CBS's Christian Benavides is in Miami.
This massive tornado tore through 3 miles of Johnson County, Indiana on Sunday. Officials say it damaged 75 homes, but amazingly killed no one.
You could hear The house coming apart, it was a nightmare.
John Keith hid in his bathroom as the storm ripped through.
To see your house and see the outside and know that you were just sitting there and you could have been dead.
Severe storms are being blamed for several deaths across the South, including in Arkansas and Georgia, where a tree fell on a pedestrian.
The weather knocked out power to thousands, leaving residents across the South without the ability to cool off, as they also deal with dangerously high temperatures.
It's Texas, so we always expect some heat.
Texans are being asked to conserve energy this week, with temperatures in some places already topping triple digits. ERCOT, which runs the state's electrical grid, says it's prepared to handle the surge.
ERCOT's anticipating peak demand records getting set every day this week, potentially.
At Palo Duro Canyon State Park, officials are asking hikers to take extra precautions.
The canyon floor actually gets incredibly hot. Just the other day, last Wednesday, it got to 140 ground temperature.
And up in Canada, smoke from the wildfires consumed Montreal, while also reducing the air quality in parts of the upper Midwest. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
We'll be back with more on how to beat the heat, but first, to show you how hot it was, we turned our storm chaser into an oven and tried to make some treats. We still have the excessive heat warning through 8 p.m. tonight. Our temperatures today will be close to 104, even up to 110 in some spots. But with the heat and the hottest day today, we wanted to bake some cookies. I've actually been wanting to do this for a long time, so I was pretty excited that I got everybody on board with these baking of the cookies. So we have the mobile storm chaser. We put our cookies inside on the dashboard. We have it so that the sun is hitting it. Our cookie dough is getting a little bit mushy, and then we have the temperature inside the car, which we have seen go up about 10 degrees just in the last 30 minutes. And so the recipe for these cookies is 180 degrees inside, baking for 2 to 3 hours. So we are now up to 120 degrees. That's a 30-degree increase in temperatures from 10:15 to noon. And then you'll notice that we have some s'mores in here. So we're gonna try and make some s'mores. And all you have to do is just put your s'mores together. Stack those ingredients, graham cracker, chocolate, marshmallow, put another graham cracker on top. Then we slid them in there right next to our cookies. Parents, let's talk about busting boredom for the kids while the heat is keeping you inside. Brooke Katz has some ideas.
School's out for summer, and no doubt you have heard the kids complain by now that they're bored.
Going to the park, going to a playground, swimming. A lot of communities have pools that are open and available during the summer. The zoo is a great option.
Yeah, so those ideas from Dr. Gina Robinson, perhaps not so realistic right now with the dangerous heat, but certainly for when the temperatures go down. But you can take activities indoors. Some ideas from the Child Mind Institute. For younger kids, build and play in a fort. Spend time playing with Legos or building toys. Work some puzzles or do some coloring or crafting projects. For the older kids, there are always board games. Have them draw or do some art projects. And always encourage them to pick up a book, maybe from their favorite series.
And I always stress to kids that the nice thing about reading in the summer, one of the nice things, is that you don't have to read an assigned book.
And while we know you want to keep the kids entertained, experts say it's also a good idea to actually let them get bored. According to the Child Mind Institute, boredom can help kids build a tolerance for less than ideal experiences. It also helps them develop planning strategies, problem-solving skills, flexibility, and organizational skills.
Some social media and some screen time is fine, but make sure you limit it. But now if your family is heading outside, maybe driving to the zoo or other outdoor activities, it's important to remember that leaving a child in a hot car for any amount of time can be dangerous and even deadly. When we've been doing those experiments outside all day to show you how hot a car can get in this summer heat, and we have some tips to avoid the unthinkable.
It happens every year. As the sun beats down, the danger inside cars heats up. Since 1998, more than 940 children have died after either being left or trapped in a hot car. A majority of those deaths happen because someone forgets a child in a car. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life program says when it's 75 degrees out, it takes 30 minutes for the inside of a car to hit 104 degrees. But the danger rises with the temperature. At 95 degrees outside, it takes 5 minutes for the inside to reach 102. Dangerous for anyone, especially young children. Experts say always check the back seat before locking car doors. It may help to leave something like a cell phone next to the car seat and have a plan with your child's daycare center.
Safety experts say never leave a child in the car alone. Even rolling down the windows or parking in the shade does little to lower the temperature. We'll be right back with more on how to beat the heat. And let's check in on those cookies and s'mores we've tried to make in our storm chaser/oven today. I'm First Alert meteorologist Brittany Rainey on CBS News Texas, and we are out in the Texas heat today when we have an excessive heat warning. At times it's going to feel up to 115 degrees. So we started our cookies around 10:15 this morning. The inside of the car, it was around 90.5 degrees. Then as we got closer to noon, it jumped up to 120. Our temperature right now, I forgot to even look at that. We're coming up on over 130 degrees inside the car. An hour ago, we put in some s'mores in there as well, and our s'mores are coming along. So the marshmallows did kind of topple over a little bit. They're invading the cookie space there, but we are seeing the chocolate melting on the marshmallows. Our cookies, they're smudging out a bit more. They are cooking a little better. And with the cookies, it's supposed to take about 2 to 3 hours at 180 degrees, and the s'mores are supposed to take about an hour. So we're still going to leave them in there for a little bit longer. We've been seeing the temperature steadily increase in the car. You can see our temperature gauge here, and we actually can see that it's all the way over. It can't get any hotter, at least it can't register any hotter than 140, so we did check it, and it's actually closer to 150 degrees inside. Here, when we started this morning, it was about 10:15 in the morning. The inside of the car is about 90.5 degrees. Now it's not even registering. It's gone past 140, so we used one of those thermometers where you could point it and it tells you. So we're at about 168 degrees inside. So our cookies have been in here since about 10:15. Our s'mores went in around noon, and the s'mores are definitely getting very melty. Those marshmallows are melting. Our cookies, I think they're actually doing pretty good. The recipe calls for them to be inside on the dashboard with the car at 180 degrees for 2 to 3 hours. But since we're still not at that 180 mark, they haven't quite cooked all the way. But we're gonna leave them in here. Every year, millions of tourists come to the Lone Star State, but few are prepared for the summer in Texas. Olivia Leach has more on how visitors are dealing with this heat and what you can do to protect yourself.
The Fort Worth Stockyards is a must-see for anyone visiting the Metroplex, but even the misters on this patio were no match for the heat.
I was putting him here at the little water because he was sweating like crazy. And I got this little fan for him, but it's not enough.
This family was visiting from Sherman, Texas.
We love this barbecue, but it's way too hot. We got here like 30 minutes ago. We ate it. We're heading out.
Maria Ordonez and her family are from Florida.
In Florida, I don't know, it's more humid, which you feel a little bit more sticky, but I don't think it gets this hot. It's so
They've been sightseeing for hours.
Doing the water, I even wet her hair to stay cool, going inside, get a fan everywhere. So yeah, it's very hot. Stay hydrated too.
It may be hot now, but with temperatures expected to climb even higher midweek, MedStar's Assistant Operations Manager Brian White says crews are getting prepared by stocking their ambulances with cooling packs and IV fluids.
Whenever in Texas, you have to prepare for the Texas summers.
Since May 1st, they've treated 150 patients for heat-related illness. Most at risk, the elderly, the homeless, and people who work outside. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke, which could be fatal, are common this time of year.
If you stop sweating, that's a very bad sign. But before you stop sweating, you'll actually start getting headaches. You may feel nauseous, dizzy. That's one of the signs that you need to get out of that heat.
White says the best way to protect yourself is by staying indoors, wearing light clothing when you're outside, and drinking plenty of water. His best advice, listen to your body.
Be aware of your body. Your body sends you great signals to let you know when it is starting to overheat.
Olivia Leach, CBS News Texas.
All animals need some protection too. Andrea Lucia takes a look at how the heat impacts your pets and what you can do to keep them safe.
Yeah, this is Nico, who will beg to go outside no matter how hot it is. With this heat, though, we do have to be careful. I spoke to the veterinarians at MedVet, which specializes in emergency animal care. Their Dallas ER is getting between 2 to 4 dogs a day with heat stroke. They're also seeing dogs come in with burns to their paws from walking on concrete. Some breeds, like Bulldog, are also more prone to respiratory issues in the heat. If your dogs are clamoring to get out, the safest time of day is early in the morning. Just watch out for signs they're overheating.
If they seem to be more tired or not going as long on their walk as normal, or sometimes they'll just sit down on their walk, where normally they'd just keep going.
If you think your dog may be overheated, get them inside or to a cool, ventilated area. Wet them down with cool water and make sure they're drinking, but avoid ice water, which can make them vomit, or placing ice packs on them, which Dr. Catherine Mick says could prompt their body to conserve heat. If you do have a dog that seems disoriented, wobbly, or doesn't seem to be able to cool down after being in the heat, you may need to get them medical attention. Cats, by the way, are also susceptible to the heat. They just tend to be better about not pushing past their limit. So when they do get overheated, it tends to be because they are in a carrier or being transported in a car. So that's when you want to be especially careful with them. In Richardson, Andrea Lucia, CBS News Texas.
Cats, by the way, they're also susceptible to the heat. They're just better at taking care of themselves and not pushing their limits. If you have them in a crate, though, you'll want to make sure not to leave them anywhere too hot or without water. Coming up next, the heat in your wallet, what you can do to keep your electric bill lower during these scorching summer months. But first, we tried to use the brutal heat to cook some breakfast. Here's how that turned out.
But we have our Mobile 11 Storm Chaser here. This morning, 10:15, we put the cookies in our oven. It was about 90.5. Then it got up to 170 at last check. That was about an hour ago. We needed it to get up to about 180 degrees to cook these cookies for about 2 to 3 hours. That was the recipe for them. But we also threw in some s'mores as well. They're getting pretty melty. We're going to take these out here in probably another half an hour. And then just because it's so hot, we wanted to try cooking an egg as well. So we did put the eggs out over there, and these are just supposed to kind of get a little bit of white around the edges. So we're going to keep a close eye on those for you as well. But we might actually taste some of the s'mores. I don't know about the cookies, but we might give these s'mores a little taste test. We also cracked a couple of eggs here. We gave 2 options of maybe seeing some cooking. You can see down here on the pavement and getting a little bit more heat, and so it's cooking a little bit around the edges there with some of the white. The heat is causing us to burn through our cash with rising utility costs. Jen Sullivan has some tips to help you keep those costs down.
Bracing for a hot summer with high utility bills as costs for water, electricity, and even gas tends to climb as the temperatures rise. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, average electricity prices expected to rise about 2% from last year. And while the latest consumer price index showed energy costs decline 3.6% in May, prices are still too high for some Americans. Here are 5 tips to keep utility bills down this summer. Number 1. Use your dishwasher instead of hand washing. While it does use electricity, it saves energy and water. The U.S. Department of Energy says that could save you thousands of gallons of water each year. Also, air dry the dishes to reduce your dishwasher's energy. Number 2, raise the thermostat and use a fan. Raising the temperature and using a fan can help you use less energy running your air conditioner. Number 3, switch to more efficient bulbs. LED bulbs use at least 75% less energy than incandescent lighting. Number 4, use cold water when you wash laundry. The Department of Energy says 90% of electricity used to wash a load goes towards heating the water. Number 5, check the air ducts. Holes, clogs, and leaks can lower your HVAC's efficiency.
As you're well aware, North Texas is home to a lot of concrete with a lot of opportunities for roads to buckle in this extreme heat.
We spoke with TxDOT today, and put simply, you can blame it on the triple-digit heat. Keep in mind, surface temperatures on roadways can be 40 degrees higher than the actual temperature, and that heat can cause concrete to expand. There are two places on a road where buckling is most likely to occur. The first is a seam where new concrete meets older concrete. The second is where there is a bridge joint. These bridge joints are designed to help roads withstand temperature changes, but in conditions with extremely high temps, they don't always work the way they're meant to. Concrete can expand to the point where there's nowhere else for it to go but up.
So far this summer, it hasn't happened in our area, but TxDOT says they have drivers who routinely go out on the roads looking for those potential issues. Thanks for watching. I'm First Alert meteorologist Brittany Rainey. Stay cool, North Texas.
Let's go into the oven. We got to check on some of our treats here. So I kind of already pulled some off because that's very, very hot up there. You're definitely going to want to have hot pad or the spatula when you get them. So I have some judges for my baking. I hope we live up to your taste buds here. So we have Sammy, one of our directors. We have Julia. She works on the web for us. Go ahead and take a s'more there, guys. Give it a taste test. See if we did good. It's very, very melty. The marshmallows are very smooshy. This is going to be very graceful. Nice job, guys. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have made you try and eat marshmallows on live television. Didn't really think that one through, but hey, Sammy says it's pretty good. And then I did ask Sammy before you take another big bite. Julia, yes, she likes it too. We do have the cookies, and these are the kind that you can eat, even the raw dough, and it's actually kind of hard too. We've had them in there for about 6 to 7 hours. How is it? It's a little bit gooey inside. So not too bad. Does it taste okay?
It's like Mom used to make.
Oh, see, there you go. I think that's a rave review for my cooking in the oven, but this is definitely a reminder of how hot these cars can get. We clocked it at around 170 degrees, so you definitely don't want to leave your kids or your pets in the car. It just takes a couple of minutes for it to get into that dangerous extreme heat, guys. But aren't you sad that you didn't get to try it? I do have some chocolate here. I can bring it in. You guys can